I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Amanda Kim, who is the Media and Communications Supervisor for the Midpeninsula Regional Open Space District. Amanda, thank you. That's a mouthful. Did you fit that on a business card?
I was going to say, it is a mouthful, and you can actually just call us Mid-Penn. It's a lot easier.
Okay, thank you.
And that's how members of the community usually refer to us.
Okay, so speaking of Mid-Penn, we want to talk to our viewers about what is Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the organization and how you're funded and what you do.
Okay, great. So Mid-Penn has been around for about 44 years. We were actually founded through a citizen initiative, mostly in the Mid-Peninsula area. Mm-hmm. People wanted to preserve their beautiful open space, and they decided to get together and develop a citizen initiative and actually tax themselves so that as a group or collectively, the public could buy open space lands and preserve it in perpetuity. They really wanted their children to have the same beautiful places that they grew up in. And so that took off. It was actually successful. It was a bond measure in 1972 called Measure R, and the R stood for room to breathe. People wanted to have that room to breathe.
That's great history.
Yeah, so since then, Mid-Penn has grown a little bit. We're extended into San Mateo County and a little bit of Santa Cruz County. So our boundaries actually go from the southern border of Pacifica to the northern corner of Santa Cruz County. It includes lots of beautiful Santa Cruz mountains, a little bit on the bay, and actually a lot of coastal farmland on San Mateo County's coast. So we're one of the agencies that's helping to preserve that lifestyle and heritage on the San Mateo County coast.
And do you sort of talk about, as far as acreage, what is under the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District?
Yes. So over the last 40 years, we've actually protected 62,000 acres of land. Those are organized into open space preserves. We have 26 open space preserves. 2 are closed to the public altogether, so there are 24 preserves where people can go and enjoy hiking, biking, equestrian activities. A lot of dog walking is available out there. All of our preserves are open to the public. They're free. They're open 365 days a year. There's no charge for parking or entry. And we actually have a lot of guided activities, about 300 guided activities, which are run by our docents. We have 100 docents, and those are also free.
So, I mean, there's a difference and a distinction between what a county might own within their own parks from the county and versus what you own, if you will, the public trust owns in open space.
Right. There is a little bit of a difference, but we actually work in collaboration with county and state parks and other landholders because for the animals and trees, there's no boundary. And so we're all responsible for making sure that those plants and animals are protected and the people who cross those boundaries are safe as well. So we do a lot of partnerships with San Mateo County Parks. We do easements where we might own the land, but they're in charge of maintaining it, or vice versa. But one of the things that might be a little bit more different for us is that open space preserves are a little bit more rustic. So we don't have as many amenities. We don't really have play structures. We don't have as many paved walkways. We do have accessible areas where people can go if they have a wheelchair or stroller. And we do have different levels of activity. We don't have trash cans, for example. If you bring it in, you take it out. Yeah, so
I'm glad you're here talking about this because when I think of open space, I think it's non-accessible. So I'm glad we're talking to our viewers today in the community about you're inviting people, other than you do have 2 properties that are preserves and the public are not able to come onto the property. But for the most part, you invite people to come and visit and be one with nature and learn from the habitat. And
yeah, absolutely. We actually have 225 miles of trail that people can explore. So we have a lot of trail, and we're actually working on developing more. One of those preserves that's currently closed, we have a plan to open it in the next 3 years.
So how are some of the ways in which you acquire some of the properties? I know people actually will even donate through their trust property, maybe a family farm, etc., and just want to make sure that forever and in perpetuity it is preserved for open space. So tell us a little bit about how you've gathered all of this acreage.
Actually, a lot of it is through private sellers who want their land to stay natural and beautiful and pristine. Their families have been there for generations. They move to those locations because it's beautiful. They want to keep it that way, and so they want that land in that state forever and ever. And so that's one of the ways, and oftentimes we get land at a discount because of that. And then there is also an organization called the Peninsula Open Space Trust that does private fundraising to purchase properties, and they do campaigns, and they work with sellers as well. And then we might purchase from them too. So those are some of the options that are available to us.
And if I go back a question, we talked about some of the things that you can do on the property and some of the things that you encourage folks to do. I know you talked about hikers.
Yes.
And one of the things you pointed out was we don't have any trash cans, so what you bring in, you bring out.
Yes.
Tell us, what can hikers do? How do they find your maps and trails?
Sure, I'm happy to. So we have a wonderful, robust website called at www.openspace.org.
And we'll make sure that gets up on the screen too.
Okay, good, great. So all of our preserves are listed there. We highlight a couple of trails if people are new to the preserves. We actually have GPS locations for all the parking lots, so you can plug it right into your phone and go directly to a parking lot. You don't have to worry about using Google Maps navigation. And we have downloadable preserve maps as well. So that's a good introductory way to get onto the preserves. And if you look at our calendar of events, we list all of our activities, and those are keyed and coded so you know what's a moderate hike, what's a family-friendly hike, what's near you, and so you can pick and choose what you would like to do.
So along the trail, do you have markings to tell you that you are still on the XYZ loop? Or
Yes,
okay.
yes. And actually, once you get to the preserve, at the trailhead, we have enormous signboards that show a map. They give you some information about that preserve, safety issues if you want to keep an eye out for poison oak, for example, and then also you know, just how to navigate. And there you can find paper copies of the maps as well.
Okay.
And so you can either take them home with you or leave them for the next person when you're done.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Which is your favorite hike?
I like actually Prisma Creek Redwoods. That was the one I went to first before I went to the district. For me, it was a great place to.
And that's sort of on the way to the Half Moon Bay area, correct?
Yeah. And actually, a lot of our preserves are located along Skyline Boulevard.
Okay.
So for us, coming from San Mateo, we take 92 to Half Moon Bay. We get off at Skyline, and then you just go on this beautiful road that passes through any number of open space preserves. And I would say Prisma Creek is a nostalgic favorite of mine. But if you go a little bit further, you can go to Russian Ridge, which has Burrell Hill, which is the highest point in San Mateo County. And it's a pretty gentle hike. It's only just a little bit over half a mile. And you walk from the parking lot up to Burrell Hill. And as you're walking, you can see San Francisco Bay on one side of the path. And
beautiful.
Then you have the ocean on the other and the entire San Mateo County coastside, which is gorgeous. So you have this beautiful vista all around you. And it's not a hard hike.
Right. And I love the fact that you code them to tell us in advance, so we're not halfway through and think, oh my gosh, look at this hill in front of me. So you do that. So what's in the future for Midpen?
We've got a couple of exciting projects coming up. One is that in 2014, the general public actually approved a general obligation bond measure for $300 million over the next 30 years. Half of that work is going to take place in San Mateo County. A lot of it is going to go toward preserving redwood forests, improving watersheds, which provides drinking water for us, cleaning our air, all of that good stuff, as well as developing trails. So we are partners with the Bay Area Ridge Trail, which is going to circle the entire Bay Area when it's done, and so we're working on connectors for that and expanding that system. And we're also working on the Bay Trail. This is another wonderful trail that goes around the Bay. We got a grant from San Mateo County's Measure A funds for $1 million to work on this critical gap. We're supplementing that with some Measure AA funds, but it's this important gap that has been hard to fill over the last 20 years. There have been multiple property owners. There have been some environmental issues there.
And that's to connect the Bay Trail.
And that will connect the Bay Trail at Bellhaven, which is Menlo Park, and that will create 70 miles of continuous trail.
Wow.
So that is recreational.
Key.
It's family recreation. It's also commuting. It's also a safe route to get to work.
Right.
So you can take your bike. It's access, And all of those trails and open space actually improve the health and well-being of the communities around them. So that's another great benefit of it.
Well, Amanda, we are out of time.
Oh, it's so nice to be here.
We've completed our segment. Thank you so much for giving us such a broad breadth of what Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District does. And of course, we'll encourage all of our volunteers to jump on, our viewers and volunteers, to jump on the website, find a trail and get out there and enjoy the vast open space that we have here in San Mateo County. Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.